Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a preview of Crown and Courage, a solo war game. And as always, I never take money from publishers, I'm just showing this early version of the game so you can make an informed decision about whether you might want to back it. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So Crown and Courage is another war game from the creator of Halls of Hagra. If you didn't see my coverage of that one, or if you haven't played it, be ready to lose. Be ready to lose horribly. I played this game a couple of times before this preview recording, and I have lost very badly. Well, actually, the last game I kind of got close, but that was through a series of lucky incidents. But like Halls of Hagra, this game is set in the Norwegian theater of World War II. Specifically, it's when the Germans are invading Norway, and you are mainly controlling the Norwegian king, and you're trying to get out of Norway before they capture you. Historically, the king did get away, so, I'm not entirely sure why the designer made the game so dang impossible. But that's definitely what they're after, and I know us solo wargamers love our challenging games sometimes. But I'm going to show how the game works and, see if I can survive. Again, this is all a prototype copy, although honestly, the designer is so good at making everything really clean and easy to run with the game board and everything explained on there. I imagine this is going to be pretty close to what the final version looks like. So we've got this little map over here. We've got the king represented by this white pawn. I can level up in a way into this black pawn, which is 3D printed and broke in shipping. That will happen when I directly rebuff one of the German demands on Norway. I will change into my more militaristic form for the rest of the game. I have Norwegian troops that are going to try their best to stem the Nazi tide coming. And then there's tons of German troops, some of them waiting to reinforce down here. But then there are a whole bunch of them ready to attack. And if you flip them over, they have paratrooper sides, which can fly in and try to capture the king directly. Fun. I've also got some D6 dice in my population pool. These can be used to help me sabotage the German war efforts and negate their actions, or to evacuate, which is the most important action in the game, because that's how you actually move your king. Over here, I have some important tracks. The danger track, which tracks my stress level and the threat level. Each time my stress level gets up to the 1 up here, I lose one of these willpower cubes. And also, whenever I stand up to the German demands, I lose some of them. And if all 5 of them go away, I lose the game, which is how I lost last time. You've also got these pressure cubes that'll build up as you ignore the German demands. If those all go away, you lose. And eventually you'll have to decline the Germans and get rid of the pressure, but then you lose willpower. Lots of ways to die. And then the most important part of the game is this little action display here. You're going to be taking tiles from up here, putting them out here. You're going to be activating German actions and your own actions based on the intersections of rows and columns. This is kind of the core mechanic of the game, so you'll see what I'm talking about soon. And there's a lot of other stuff going on. So yeah, let's just jump right in. The game board, again, explains how things run pretty clearly. So first, at the beginning of each round, we have today's plan. So if any tiles were missing, because I had just taken one from the previous turn, they would all slot down and we would draw new ones from a bag. Currently, the bag includes a bunch of basic actions and a single chaos tile. When that comes out, I have to either deal with putting it into my grid, or I have to avoid it, but then it kind of builds up the capacity to help the Germans out. But you never start with that at the beginning of one of the days. So my options right now are the upgrade one. I love this one. It lets me improve itself or the other tiles so that their actions are more effective. I've got the rest tile, which can help me lower my stress. And I've got the evacuate tile. That one always starts at the top at the beginning of each round. A round, by the way, being 9 turns, because I'm going to fully fill in this grid before I go to the next one. And I can pick the bottommost tile for free. I can pick the next tile at the cost of 1 stress. And the last tile needs me to discard an action card. You start with 1 action card in your hand. There's a whole deck of them. In this case, I got volunteers. It has a power it can be used for. In this case, it's just a battle modification power. Most action cards will have a special effect they can resolve, but you have to pay for them by discarding other action cards, sort of Marvel Champion style. And then that star with a 1 in it at the bottom right is the combat value of the card. Whenever a combat happens, basically the Germans won't attack you unless they already outnumber you and are going to win the combat, but then you can discard cards to flip the script on them and defeat them temporarily. Volunteers only gives you 1 power for that, but if you use it, its ability says if you win a battle using it, you get +2 morale. So if you can engineer a combat where you can stop the Germans with that +1 star, it can be quite good. But yeah, so that's if I want to take the topmost tile. I need to discard a card, a stress, nothing. So let's do nothing. Nothing's always good. And I'll take an upgrade, and what the hey, we'll just put it right in the middle. Okay, so then I do order of operations. So whichever tile I just placed is called the primary tile. I put the yellow cube here. And then I pick either a row or a column. Here it doesn't matter because nothing else is out yet. But for the sake of it, let's say the row. If I had other tiles here of mine, I would put these red cubes on them to show that I'm also going to activate those when it gets to the execute orders step. I don't have any. And then if I have an army order in the row or column on this frame here, this outside little set from 7 to 12 there, I put the little red pawn here. And these are the actions I will take in a moment. Now, importantly, if I had a whole bunch of tiles and I had to put out all the cubes, I would resolve this little circling arrow thing here called the German quick response. I didn't do that yet because this red cube is still there. Basically, it's when I fully fill in the row or column I'm activating. Now, unfortunately, the Germans are faster than me, basically everything I want to upgrade, but I can't yet because step 3 is the German main response. So what I look at is, regardless of which row or column I activated, I chose to activate this row, but they don't care. They're looking at every row and column that intersects with the primary order, the yellow one. So here it's this column and this row. And that means that they're looking at the frame pieces that don't have a Norwegian army order icon there, which is this one and this one. And they're going to resolve them in kind of clockwise ascending number order, in this case, the 2 and then the 5. If they'd already been flipped, which will be the case in pretty much all future rounds, they just resolve whatever it is. But here they're going to flip it. And this first one is a reinforcements action. Now, usually these actions are resolved. You look at the row or column intersecting the primary order, and you count the number of German icons. So here would be 2, right? And there can be more of them because chaos tiles can add more and stuff can increase that number. And that'll be how many times you would resolve the action. So here I would do reinforcements twice. But the very first time you flip them up, you see the little 1 here. That's a reminder. You only resolve it once because the Germans are still kind of getting their war machine going. So we're doing a single reinforcement action. What that means is we look at the German front line, how far their main troops have advanced. You'll see their little arrows on the map. So they're going to be going along those arrows, capturing cities as they go, like they're about to capture Oslo in a second. So when they reinforce, they add 1 troop from their little supply down here on the boat into the space directly behind their front line. So here they're going into this second spot that already has a lot of guys. Just so many troops coming. Okay, so that was that. Now we do this one. It's great. It's a move. So now all the German troops are going to try to move 1 space, which means, yep, they're just taking Oslo immediately. This is great. So they move in. If I had troops there, we would have a battle, but I don't. So they just come in unimpeded, and these guys move up as well. Now, if I had enough troops to oppose them, like just a ton of guys, because basically each troop unit is worth 1 strength. So the Germans here have 4, so that's 4 strength. My guys have 1 each. So like if I had 4 guys here, they wouldn't move because they'll never move into a space if they won't win the battle, or at least think they will. Because remember, you can change the result with cards. But here, again, nothing's happening. They're just taking Oslo. So they are occupying it, which is great. I mean, this always happens. There's not much you can do when they're right on your doorstep. So you take, when they occupy a city, you take the tile that says Oslo, you put it on the city, and you resolve all of these effects. So first of all, if the king is in a sector below the captured city, you lose the game. Because if you move the king off of these arrows, off of the kind of main line of movement, then the German troops can just pass you right by. Although the paratroopers, if they come out, they'll actually hunt you down. But the map is divided. It's somewhat hard to see into these dark lines here. Each of these is called a sector. So if, for example, the German troops captured Elverum and I was still in the sector down below where they'd captured a city, then I would immediately lose the game. You have to be moving at somewhat of a good clip or you auto lose. Then also when a town is occupied, if any of my troops are in sectors below that town, like they're way behind enemy lines, they get removed, but they get to do what's called sabotage. They can mess up the German actions a little bit as they're working behind the lines. The Germans also lose 1 troop from the occupying city, just, I guess, the efforts of taking it over. And then they resolve the effects that have been revealed by moving the tile. And these are going to compound. So when they conquer Hamar, they'll get to do both of these. When they conquer Elverum, they'll get to do 3. And then when they conquer Nybergsund, probably should have looked up the pronunciations, they'll do 4. So here what they're doing is I'm losing 1 morale, I'm gaining a collaborator, they're gaining 1 momentum. And sorry, momentum should have started on 2, so now it's up to 3. Those are going to give them free movement when I'm activating fully filled rows and columns. You'll see that I am losing 1 morale, which is great. So I'm going down here. You'll see that it has rows you can move up. So usually that's what happens. When you lose morale, you always go down a row. But when you're in a row that has card icons, if you move over, which you can do when you gain morale, so like whenever an effect lets me gain morale, I can either go up or go to the right. That's one of the main mechanisms to let you draw cards. But for now, I'm just dropping into the dregs down here. And finally said I gain a collaborator. So yay, they're working with the Germans. What a nice thing. So I add this card to my hand, even though I don't want to. And then it says -1 morale if this card is used to power other cards or is discarded in any way. So you can like use it as a card in your hand, but you lose morale for doing so. It says whenever a collaborated card is added to your hand, gain 1 stress per collaborated card in your hand. So I'm gaining 1 right now. And if I don't find a way to get rid of this guy, then I'll gain 2 the next time, 3 the time after that. And then at the bottom, this is what I was talking about, an action on a card that requires discarding other cards. In this case, for the collaborator, if I discard 2 cards, that X next to the 2, I can resolve the we don't need your help action and get rid of this out of my deck back to the collaborator's stack. But we don't have enough cards to do that, so we're just taking up our stress. And whenever stress gets to 11, we lose 1 willpower. Threat will also move. And whenever it gets up to 8, they're going to steal one of our population and add it to the German quick response action box. So they'll get more free actions. But then it goes back to 3. And importantly, the threat token is a sort of bottom marker for the stress token. So like if threat moved up to 7, stress would automatically go up to 8. If it moved up to 8, it would automatically go up to 9. And whenever you lose a willpower from your stress rising too high, it drops back down to being right above your threat. So if your threat's really high, your stress is going to just increase exponentially very quickly. All right, well, what a lovely, lovely turn that was. So now we get to execute orders. I'm looking at the things that are covered with pawns and cubes, and I can do these in whatever order I want. Let's go ahead and do an army order first. When you resolve an army order, you can either add 1 troop into an empty reinforcement spot, so I couldn't put a guy right here, since there's already a troop there, or you can move 1 troop orthogonally 1 space. So I could move this guy in to defend the king, although they don't have any paratroopers yet, so that's not necessarily an immediate thing. I could try to get this guy down to here, although there's 3 Germans. Well, I guess with volunteers, that would be enough to stop them. So sure, let's do that. Well, we'll move him into the king spot, and then next turn we can move him down here. And that way, with the volunteers, my 2 troops would have 3 strength to rebuff the German advance, at least for a moment. And I would gain some morale and stuff. It seems like something to try. Okay, then I get to perform an upgrade of a level 1 order. So I could upgrade itself, or I can upgrade any of the ones here. If more things were in my little display, my grid here, I could also upgrade them. All of the tiles have a level 2 and a level 3 version. The upgrade level 2 lets you upgrade other level 2 tiles or itself. The rest one, which currently reduces 2 stress, goes to reducing 3 stress. And the evacuate one, which is what I'm going to actually upgrade, goes from just letting you resolve an evacuate action to letting you skip the entire German response step, this German main response thing, for placing the tiles. So it just saves you tons of time of nastiness from your opponent. So yeah, I like to upgrade that one as quickly as possible, which is why I'm glad that I started with the upgrade tile pretty quickly. But every time I resolve the row or column with upgrade, I'm going to get to take that action again. So you do kind of compound the number of things you get to do each round, but the Germans have tricky ways to do that too. All right, so that was execute orders. Now we go to report. If the grid is not full, go back to step 1. We're going to repeat this 8 more times. If the grid is full, we would go to a group, and then German demands, and then extra push, and then a new day dawns. So a whole bunch of stuff starts. But we're still in the first day. So now the tiles move down, and we draw something, and it's order, which lets you play an order card for 1 less action than it would normally cost. So like if I played the collaborator to get rid of it, it would only force me to discard 1 action card instead of 2. Not too impressed by that. Do I want to get rest or evacuate? My stress is pretty high, and evacuating tends to get you more stress, but I also need to get my king moving, and the evacuate would not activate anything, which is always pretty valuable. That's going to get me stressed. Maybe, yeah, let me go ahead and get the rest action first. I like taking the free ones when I can. You know what? I feel like I don't mind them reinforcing more. Let's go ahead and put it right there. So rest is my primary. I'm choosing this column. So upgrade is a support. which means I'm going to get 2 actions, and I'm still getting an army order. By the way, these army order tiles will flip, and they have German actions on the other side. So as the game progresses, you get less and less nice things going for you, and more nasty things going for them. All right, so once again, we do the German main response. So reinforcements, this time the number of tokens or tiles or icons, that's what I'm looking for. The number of icons matters because it's not on its one side. So we're doing a single reinforcement. And remember, it's the spot below the main line. They've already conquered Oslo. So they have a 5th dude down here. Okay, and then I have to see what this one is. I'll only resolve it once because it's on its one side. It's another reinforcement. Well, got a lot of dudes, don't they? Well, that's it for now. I don't resolve the move because it was not in the row or column that was being activated. So I can execute these orders in any order I like. And yeah, I mean, this one's kind of obvious. I'm going to upgrade the rest before I use it. It's never too bad of an idea. So it will go to -3 stress instead of -2. And then I'll go and resolve that to bring my stress all the way down to 4. Yay. And finally, for my 1 army order, let's enact our plan and have 2 guys versus 3 about to move in, so the volunteers can perfectly stop them. Not going to stop them for long, but they're accomplishing something. Of course, the king is all alone unless he gets moving very quickly, which we'll be able to do soon because Evacuate is ready and cheap. And upgraded, so I won't do anything when I draw it. And we got Strategize, which lets you draw 2 more action cards. That's a fabulous one, especially if you upgrade it. Eventually, you can get 3 cards. But yeah, let's do Evacuate. And I'm not activating anything anyway. So do I want to do it for the move? I think I do, because there's only 1 move action to start out. So I'll go ahead and put it here. I can upgrade as well. And yeah, I'll activate this row. So we go like that. All right. So normally we would look. And we have this row and this column, but because we upgraded this and it says no German responsive primary, we skip all of that. Yay. So we go right to execute orders. Let's upgrade first, and sure, I'm going to upgrade this level 1 order that's about to come down. And now I can play a card with a 2 discount, which means I can, for example, get rid of my collaborator for free. That seems pretty good. Okay, and then for the army order, let's recruit another troop. I mean, that place is just going to try to defend once, and then let's recruit there with the intention of moving them in to defend the king, I think. Or at least to slow down the German advance, because every time you have troops in a battle, you get to remove 1 German trooper, even if you didn't accomplish anything else. Okay, and then Evacuate. Let's talk about this, because it is, again, the most important action of the game. It's how you win. So each time you resolve an Evacuate action, you get to pick 1 of these options. I start out with 1 of my population dice in the evacuation pool with a 1 on it. And you'll see that my population pool also has all 1s. So my first option is a new route. I can move a die over to the evacuation pool, but then I gain stress equal to the number of dice now in the evacuation pool, which is going to be 2. That is the action I'm going to take, but I just want to show how it works. So I go up to 6. Which is why I wanted to lower my stress, because I don't want to lose willpower. If you lose willpower too quickly, you die really badly. My second option is to plan a journey, which increases the value of every die in the pool by 1. Notice that that is more effective and more efficient if you do it after you've already added some dice. And then finally, the most important one is actually moving the king, which is we have to move now. That lets you move 1 space for each die in the evacuation pool, and you get some potential bonuses or negatives based on what you move into. So move into nice towns, they'll raise your morale, lower your stress. If you move into friendly troops, you'll gain some morale as they see their king running away. I guess that's, bolstering for morale. But then you have to pick a die. This is why the values matter. And you gain stress equal to the difference between the value of the die you picked and the threat level, well, if the threat is higher. So like right now, a 1 versus a 3, I would take 2 stress from moving. And then that die goes back to the population pool. It gets dialed back down to a 1, so you'll have to build back up to be able to move more quickly. But here, my stress is decently controlled with the rest action in the pool. So I could maybe even move in a second, because the Germans start out very close to you. 3 moves and they can get to you. So we'll try not to let that happen. All right, back to today's plan. We're moving those down. And we're getting the sabotage action, which will let us cover up German actions with dice, which is always nice. But for now, what do I want to do? I could get the order and just get rid of the collaborator, which is not the worst thing in the world to do. Although I don't find that I tend to have time to actually go through the deck and reshuffle in collaborators, so it's kind of equivalent just to spend them to play something else, which almost makes me think I should do strategize. Yeah, I am going to do that. I'll get more options to actually use with my order discount. So I'm going to strategize. Where do I want to put it? How about right here? This might be okay. So this time I'm choosing a column. I'm strategizing. I'm upgrading. I'm resting. And since it's still an army order, I get that. And because I chose the middle tile, I go up to 7 stress. But because I placed every cube, look, this second support spot, this third spot is uncovered, which means we do a German quick response. So first we roll and resolve the die in the quick response box. And we got a 6. And we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which action that corresponds to, and it's reinforcement. So they're going to get another guy, just a huge stack waiting in the wings. And then we check if they have at least 1 momentum. They do, unfortunately, so it drops down by 1, but they get to resolve a free German move, like they had done that action. Okay, which means these guys come in to fight. This giant stack comes into Oslo. So this is 3 strength to 2. I just need to tie them, so I'm going to discard my volunteers for +1 strength, which means they lose the fight. I look at this give them hell column instead of retreat into the forest. And it says volunteer card bonus. Yes, I'll gain 2 morale. And yeah, it just means getting it out of the dregs down there. Okay, then I remove 1 German soldier. Then if I lower morale by 1, I can remove another one. I like to do that a lot of the time, but my morale is terrible right now. So let's say no. And then these soldiers go back to where they came from. Now they have a super stack that I'm definitely not going to be able to stop, but I prevented them from moving right next to my king for the moment at least. And I got the bonus from volunteers, so that was all cool. And again, that was from the momentum bonus of the quick response since I got too many actions. Like I could have chosen to resolve this row instead of this column, and I wouldn't have had to do that. But I want to do a lot of stuff. Okay, now we check. So reinforcements, this column has 0 German icons because we filled the entire column. But this one has at least some stuff that intersects with the yellow here. It's on its one side. It's a threat. So threat moves up threat. In this case, only once because it just got flipped, even though there were 2 German icons there. Okay, that's it. So now we get to execute our orders, and we have a lot of stuff we could do. Well, let's draw 2 cards first. That's always nice. Or wait, should I upgrade that? Well, you know what? I do need to actually upgrade the upgrade action itself. So let's do that first. So now the upgrade action can upgrade a level 1 or a level 2. And the very nice thing when you get to level 3 is that it becomes like the upgraded evacuate and that you don't resolve the German response the first turn you do it. But I'm not there yet. It's just an upgrade 2. Okay, then we'll strategize and draw 2 cards. Okay, we've got Resistance Fighters as a free action. I can use a traitor in our midst. I can remove a collaborator from my hand at the top of the collaborator deck. Just a cheaper version of what's already on the collaborator card. For 1 card, I could remove all collaborators from my hand at the top of the collaborator deck if I got a bunch. Or for 3 cards, I could resolve an evacuation action, but if I chose to move, I could not move along highways, which are any of the double arrows on the map, which is, generally the main thoroughfare you're usually going to be going on. And it has +1 combat bonus. And then I've got anti-air defense. For 1, I could fire at a German plane and increase the bombing die. They'll sometimes start bombing a city. I've not seen that yet in this game. Or I could get a Norwegian fighter plane and remove a bombing die from a city. Again, doesn't really matter, so it's just basically a card to discard for some other power, or a 1 for an attack bonus. All right, and then I get to rest. Although because the threat went up, I can only lower it by 2 and not the full 3 I was entitled to. And finally, I get to do an army order. Now, by the way, I should say on the back of every one of these regular actions is an army order. It either lets you do 1 or spend a morale to do 2. So if you're ever placing a tile that just doesn't help you in the current situation, you can use that option instead. What do I want to do for my army order? These guys are just going to get destroyed when the Germans move and then become saboteurs. I could move 1 of them up, because regardless of how many guys the Germans fight, if they win, they only lose a single unit or 2 if you take the morale hit. So kind of spreading your guys out along the line tends to bleed them dry a little. But this guy can get into the exact same place. So I don't know if there's really much benefit to that. Let's use our armor order to get him in here to hopefully slow the Germans once the king gets out of there. You got to get out of there, king. All right, sabotage comes down. And we get repeat. Repeat the action in the row or column. If it's upgraded, you can repeat an action anywhere. It's pretty great to get like a powered up evacuation or something else going on. But for now, I guess let's do the order one. Now, where do I want to put it? I don't want them to move, so I don't want to do like a full row or column right now. I don't want to rest again until I evacuate to actually use it. I don't really want to increase threat because that would just give me like an extra stress increase for no good reason. So what if I do that and pick the evacuate column for the extra thing? All right, so no German quick response since we didn't take 3 cube actions. We're gaining a stress, just 1 though. Then they're reinforcing once, which is back here as a new stack since everyone joined up together in Oslo. And that was it, not too terrible. All right, I want to play an order for some amount. Well, let's do this. I have kind of a maybe good idea. I'm going to play a card with a 2 discount. I'm going to play my escort mission for 3 cards. 2 discount means only 1 card. I'm going to discard the collaborators, which does cause me to lose a morale. So I'm back to where I started. But I get to resolve an evacuation action. And it's going to be a lot of stress when we get a 3rd guy over. So I'm close to losing willpower. I want to lower that back down with the rest action if possible. But then I'm also resolving a regular evacuation action. So let's increase all of these. What's threat at? 4. So even if I evacuate right now, I would increase willpower to 11. I want to rest before I do that if I can. But yeah, now I'll move 3 spaces, get a pretty decent lead on the Germans, which is great. And I still have an army order. I'm going to move 3. I wouldn't quite reach these guys. But, I mean, it's still good to have them waiting in the city, because when I move into them, I'll get an extra morale boost. And all right, so we're getting near to the end of the day. And sabotage comes down, repeat comes down, and oh, there we go, the 1 chaos tile that's in there. So what's up with the chaos tile? Every time it comes down, I'm going to add a little German token here to it. And then if I put it out in the grid, it becomes, whenever I'm resolving a row or column, an extra German icon for that. Now, I can ignore it. I can just let it slowly drop down here. It'll eventually end up with 2 tokens. That's what this is saying if it's down in this spot. But then I'll be forcing myself to gain stress if I want to keep on not taking it and do the stuff that's above it. Now, alternatively, I can take it earlier. Let's say I grab it right now and discard my anti-air defense card. The action tile itself does nothing. It just takes up a spot. But if it's in my grid at the end of the day, I send it back to the supply, so I won't have to draw it again, which is fabulous. Whereas if I leave it in here and let it just build up those German tokens, it goes back in the bag at the end of the day, and I'll have to deal with it again. So I do have this anti-air defense. I don't really need it. Okay, let's get the chaos out early and just deal with it. All right, now where do I want to go? Threat could increase now. It wouldn't be too big of a deal, although it would make my evacuation more expensive. I don't really want to do a German quick response to let them move more. So even if I went here, I could do the column, although I do want to resolve evacuate at least once or twice more. Maybe I just suck it up. Okay, let's go here. I don't know. Again, I discarded my anti-air defense to be able to play that tile. We do, unfortunately, have to do the German quick response, because even though that chaos tile is doing nothing, it still uses up a cube, and I placed all 3. So remember, I am rolling for a free action. They got a 6, which is another reinforcement. That's okay, I guess. And then because momentum's above 0, they get a free move. Oh, king, you got to get out of there, buddy. So they're coming in here. There are 2 of us. We're not going to stop them this time. So we do retreat into the forest. So they lose 1 troop. We could take a morale to make them lose another one. I mean, it's a giant stack. Who cares? Okay, and then all of these guys go back to my reserve. But for each one, I get to resolve a sabotage action. I haven't shown this to you yet. It's kind of similar to evacuate. So one option is to move a die in the sabotage pool. Definitely going to do that. Actually, I'll do that for both of my sabotagers from those troops. Another option is to train your recruits. You can increase the dice. In this case, it goes up by your little crown heart value, your loyalty, which is based on your current morale. Right now, it's a 1. If it was up here, I would increase the dice by 2 or even 3 with each sabotage. The third option is to take one of the dice and put them on one of these German order tiles. And basically what happens is each time that would be resolved for a German icon, you instead tick the die down by 1 until it eventually goes back to the population pool. And then the final option is to increase a single die that's already on the grid, already in the act of sabotaging. You smuggle them supplies and you increase them by 1. So less efficient than the training recruits option for multiple dice. But if you want to keep a really bad action out of commission, you can do that. So again, I got 1 of those for each troop that was left behind and defeated in that battle as they ran into the forest. That would also happen if troops got left behind enemy lines. And yeah, I just got 2 dice there doing nothing yet, but they're ready to train. Okay, that was the German quick response. We still have whatever this is. A paratrooper. Great. So paratroopers, you take a troop and you flip them to the parachute side, and they go into whichever sector is ahead of the front German line on the paratroop spot. So they're going right here. Whenever the Germans move, the paratroopers will move directly towards the king if they can beat them. Here they couldn't, even though the white king has 0 strength. I haven't declined a German demand at the end of a day yet to turn him to their 1 strength black side. I still have the one troop here guarding me. So the paratroopers wouldn't move at all. But the big thing with them is, I should explain this, they can move diagonally. They can really hunt you down if you let them. So yay to have them just hanging out in there. But that's it. That's it. Now we get to do a lot of stuff. Upgrade. I'm going to upgrade the upgrade tile itself. Because the level 3 upgrade, as I had mentioned, is just like the level 2 evacuate, in that it will not, when it's the yellow one, the primary one, trigger a German response. So that'll make the next days just a little bit nicer to me. Okay, also I get an evacuate. The chaos is nothing. I get an evacuate, and I get an army order. For the evacuate, they're so close to me. I could move now, but I would lose a willpower, which I hate. I hate losing a willpower. If I get a chance to rest, can I survive for 2 more rounds? There's no way for me to rest without going here, which is going to trigger a German quick response, and they'll come in and attack the king. You can do what's called a forced escape when they come in and attack you, so you get to move away anyway, but you permanently lose a die that's in your evacuate box to the German quick response, which means they're getting 2 free actions every time you fill it. Nah, I can't do that. So shoot. Yeah, I guess I'll do the thing. So I'm going to do we have to move now. So I'm moving 3 spaces. Then I'm going to get some bonuses. Then I'll choose 1 die and gain stress equal to the difference. Threats at 4. The die's at 2, so I'll gain 2 stress. Although wait, this is actually better than I thought, because I forgot when you move into a town, if it's not being bombed or occupied, you get to lose 1 stress and gain 1 morale. So I'm actually not going to pop willpower yet. All right, so what is it? 1, 2, 3. And because I went into Hamar, lose 1 stress, gain 1 morale. Okay, then I pick the 2 die, I dial it down to 1 and put it back in the population. And because threat was at 4 and that was a 2, I gained 2 stress, not quite losing a willpower. That was good, actually. Okay, and then finally an army order. What do I want to do? I'd love to stop them from getting to Hamar, but that doesn't really seem possible. I'd love to get more troops in their way. I guess putting guy here to come down to Nybergsund, maybe? Although by then they'll already be so far ahead. Maybe I can move this guy to there and this guy down, or move this guy twice to get there, just to give my my king more morale boost for moving through troops as he goes. Although wait, he can just go boop, 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 and not follow the highway, and it'd be the exact same thing, and I'd get the same morale boost, so I don't know. All right, but our grid is almost full. We are 3 away from the end of the day, and I've ditched my only chaos, so I'm a bit more free in what I choose to do. There's an inspire that gets me morale. I kind of needed that earlier. I don't want to get any more stress and gain willpower, so let's do sabotage. And I guess they can move now without anything terrible happening. Although this order one is not useful at all, I realize. So if I do this row, that's not going to help me. And you can only flip them to their army orders side when you initially place them, so... Well, here, what if I do this, here, and strategize to get some cards, and then at least the order won't be a waste. So I'll go here, so I'm not doing the army move automatic. Okay, so sabotage, strategize, army order. But first, we get a single paratrooper. Germans haven't advanced yet, so he's in the same spot. He's 2 moves away from me, so if we can evacuate, we'll be okay, I think. And then threat increases by 1, brings it 3 away from its 8 automatic terribleness. And then, let's draw 2 cards. All right, let's see what we got. Resistance Fighters. For 1 card, we can increase the value of a sabotage die by 1 to 3. For 2 cards, we increase the value of all sabotage dice on the grid by 1 to 2. Oh, that's cool. Then we got another one to evacuate again. Artillery. If I use it in a battle where I discard at least 1 other card, I gain +2. So actually, both of these together would be +4, which I think is still not enough to stop the giant German stack. That's too bad. Or, Barrage. For 2, I can choose all enemy troops in an adjacent space to a Norwegian troop or the king and move them 1 step backwards. Ooh. So I could send that entire Oslo stack 1 move back. It's only 1 move, but it's something. Because, yeah, if I resolve that order again. Then let's sabotage. Should I add another die or increase them? Let's increase them. I want to actually start gaining a benefit from this. Remember, my loyalty is only a 1 right now, so they're only increasing by 1 each. Okay, and then for the army order, what did I want to do? Geez, man, there are 8 guys in the stack. I was thinking ooh, what if I get a guy over there and then I use the artillery? Could I defeat them? The answer is no. The answer is a resounding no. All right, well, let's do the whole idea of maybe having the troops move along the king's path and move that guy down. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not good at the game. I lose a lot, but we'll see what happens. All right, so 2 more turns, and this time there's no way to avoid German quick responses. So it goes. And we got repeat, we got inspire, and And we got fire, which lets us attack Germans that are in the same sector as our troops to remove one of them. So that's a nice way to slow things down a bit if you can recur it a bunch. So I guess I'll take repeat. What do I want to do? Do I want to repeat evacuate twice? And I can also do my order with discounts to do the barrage. Although they'll have already moved in, so never mind. It'll be too late to barrage. That sucks. Well, actually, hold on. I haven't seen any really new important information. Instead of moving that guy down, let's put a guy here. That way, even if they move in, I can still barrage them. Yeah, and then I feel a lot better. So, still, where do I want to put this? I mean, I do want to rest, right? So what if I go here in this row and I don't evacuate yet? So I got repeat. I got rest, I got order with the discount, and I got an army order. So because everything's gone, I have to do the quick response, and it's another paratrooper. Stop it, guys. And the Germans are now out of units, so I think if I get a reinforce or another paratrooper, yeah, I just double-checked, and instead they'll do a free move action, so crud. Okay. What am I doing, though? Because they don't get anything for row or column. That part is nice. Okay, so I want to rest and get this down. 1, 2, 3. That's a beautiful thing. Then I want to play an order with a 2 discount. Oh, I didn't move them. I was like, wait, I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, they still get their last momentum, but now they're out of momentum until they conquer another city, so that's good at least. All right, so these guys come in. They lose 1. I'm still not going to lose morale to do a double loss, although that is kind of like the way to actually stop them. Well, never mind. I will. I will take a morale to get rid of 2 of them. Okay, and these guys move up. And the giant paratrooper stack. Ooh, it's a lot of paratroopers. It's a lot of paratroopers. But they don't have any momentum left, so they shouldn't get another move, at least for a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. Now I rest. I can play the order with the 2 discount. Let's do the barrage. So that's free besides the card itself. And I'll move all these guys back, so they have to take 2 turns to conquer their second town. I mean, that's great. Usually I lose Hamar more quickly than this. Okay, and then I can resolve, or I can repeat effect in a row or column. Oh, this is bad. I don't really need to rest again. It would only give me 1 stress. I guess I could do resistance fighters. That's already pretty cheap, and I can't get enough discounts to do the escort mission, unfortunately. So I guess I can just do a sabotage. It seems like kind of a waste. But whatever. Should I take these up to 3 or put them out yet? I guess I'll take them up one more time. Yeah, we'll do that. And then finally an army order. Let's get this guy in here to bleed him again, right? Okay, finally Inspire and Fire come down. And actually there is nothing left because we got rid of the extra chaos or whatever. And we haven't added any more yet. So let's go ahead and pick Inspire. We'll put it here. And crud, man, I really wanted to do Evacuate again. I kind of need to. Those paratroopers are right next to me. But the order is pretty much a waste. I'd kind of rather do Strategize and Sabotage. Yeah, I'll do this. Okay, so I do still need to roll for a quick response, even though they have no momentum to move, and they got giving me 1 stress. That's fine. I'm up to 8. Okay, but then I'll gain 1 morale. I'll draw 2 cards. I got another Volunteers. We know how that works. And then this one's kind of like the the scoring of the game, Gold Reserve. So I can hide these by discarding 2 cards or 3 cards. 2 cards lets me get rid of 1 in my hand. 3 lets me get rid of all of them. For each one I can get rid of, they get taken out of the game, and I gain morale and lose stress. This is basically like me hiding the gold and getting it out of the country so that when the king escapes, I can, oppose the German efforts more and kind of keep my government together more in exile. But yeah, you can also just ignore it, and if you actually manage to win, then you'll get a score of 0, because the number of gold you've reserved, if you somehow win, is equal to that. Okay, and then I can sabotage again. I am going to put a sabotage out on the move action, one of my 3s, because I don't want them to do that when the coming turns happen. And then I'll do an army order. I think I gotta get another guy on the board, I guess. All right, and now we go to a regroup, and we will set up for the next day. So once again, the board will walk us through stuff. So first, we would move any chaos tokens in the grid to the supply. So remember, that means that it is out. It is not going back to my bag, at least for now. You'll definitely get more pretty quickly as they conquer more towns. But it's gone. And if there were any in the display that I'd chosen not to grab, they would go back into the bag. But either way, the German tokens would come off and go back into the reserve. Because if you don't have enough of those to put out when you need to put one out, I think the Germans do an automatic reinforcement. Okay, then Evacuate always goes back to the top of the Today's Plan track. But everything else gets shuffled in, and we draw 2 to fill out the rest of the Today's Plan. But even if I had Chaos tokens in the bag, they can't start out in the initial selection for the day. Here we've got Inspire, not leveled up, and Strategize, not leveled up. Well, that was something. Then this game is all about escalation and the Germans just destroying you. I have to flip the lowest numbered army order. It's not mine anymore. It's, another reinforcement for them. So now when I put action tokens here, I'm going to resolve 3 things. Great. And if all of them were flipped, then I would instead move the Germans more. Never had a game go that long, but I guess it is possible. Okay, next I do a German demand. So these are the Germans, like they're trying to pretend they're doing diplomatic stuff, even as they're invading. Here we've got abdicate. The Germans demand your abdication. Choose to decline or ignore. So I can always ignore them. What's going to happen? I would resolve 2 German reinforcements. I would lose 1 morale per ignored demand, including the one I just put in there. So that would just be 1 right now. And then I would add a pressure to my willpower spot, which is going to build up. If I get to 4 pressure, I lose immediately. But also, if we look at the card again, I can choose to decline instead. To decline it, I need to spend 1 willpower plus the number of pressure cubes I have. So if I decline it right now, it's only 1 willpower. If I decline it, next turn after I've gained 1 pressure, like the next card, I would be 2. Then I remove all my pressure, so I get to reset that, so I don't lose that. I get to draw cards equal to remaining willpower. Ooh, wow, I actually still have all 5 of my willpower. Usually, I don't have that much because I've lost at least once from my willpower or my stress going up too high. But then we increase the threat, the one that steals my dice, 1 per decline demand. So they both build up either way. The other important thing is the first time you decline, you become the combat king, the broken in half combat king in this case, and you have 1 strength to make it like a little bit harder for paratroopers to defeat you and such. But here, yeah, with all that card draw, I'm gonna say no right away, Germans, because I only lose 1 willpower, and then I get 4 card draw. That's fantastic. That's never happened. What the Actually, wait, you know what? This is like the best. I just realized. I was going to say, why did I get 3 gold reserve? But look, if I can I didn't get my card play thing, but if I can do the 3 effect, I would get 4 gold reserve put away, which would get me 4 morale and -4 stress. Woo! Wow, that's something. I've never had that happen in a game. I mean, the negative side of that is that I'm not getting like other awesome effects to like win combats and stuff. I just got these dumb gold things. And if the Germans ever move into your space to attack you and you're forced to do the forced escape, you lose all the gold, like it's gone because they took it, and you lose a bunch of morale and stress. So that's great with paratroopers right next to me. All right, and they aren't done yet. Next, you do an extra push. So we flip this over just the first time because it's randomized with these ones. So we're losing morale in this case. And then they get 1 of these push cubes for every city they've occupied, which is only 1. I don't know how I got this lucky in the first day. Usually they've at least taken Hamar by now. So they get 1 more reinforcement. They have so many guys next to me. And then you take away every cube that's in a filled spot. So if they put 2 here, they would have taken away 1 morale. If they put 3 here, they would have taken away 1 move. But any cubes that had remained, so let's say I had 2 cities conquered, like they'd gotten there and it's half ready, those cubes stay to make them get farther the next time. But here they only had the 1 cube because they only occupied 1 city. So that's pretty nice. Okay, then finally, a new day dawns. We resolve loyalty, number of army orders, and we go back to today's plan. So here I am in 1 loyalty, so I get a single free army order, which will be... Oh, that's right, I am the Black King now, so I could move a guy in here, then a single card point would be sufficient to push away the Germans if they tried to attack my king. But also theoretically that's right, I forgot, I sabotaged the move. So they're not going to get to move for a little while. They're certainly not going to they have no momentum still. They're not going to get a quick response. So I should have some time to do like a 1, 2, 3 move. So let's actually get this guy over here, and if I move him 1 more, he can be in Nybergsund. And then when I go 1, 2, 3, I'll get a morale bonus from moving into him, or I guess he can go in there. It's the same thing. And a morale bonus from reaching the towns. That'd be great. All right, so that's it. We're set up for another day. That's 1 full day, 1 full kind of round of the game. And honestly, this is kind of the best situation I've been in. I mean, they are dominating me in terms of number of troops on the board, but my willpower and my stress is a lot better than it has been, so I should be able to move a lot. I got to upgrade things pretty well, and I'm about to get so much gold. So, this is a pretty solid state for the game. But I'm going to stop there because a full game has been taking me like an hour and a half. With recording and explaining, it would probably be like 2.5 hours, and I don't have time to do that with all the other things I need to film. So let's get into some thoughts based on the full games I've played and not just this partial one. I think Crown and Courage is awesome. I think if you liked Halls of Hagra, if you like a low randomness sort of Euro meets war game experience, which will appeal to, I do think, war gamers as well as Euro gamers, this one is great. It is nail-bitingly difficult, and they don't really have anything in the game to like make it easier. So, be prepared for that. But I think maybe I could win this game. It's a better start than I've ever had. That's all I can say. So if it's possible, I could win. But the tension of every turn, putting out these tiles, trying to figure out what you want to do for them, what you want to do for yourself, how to handle things, combined with just the unstoppable nature of the German war force, because you're not winning this war. That is not the game. The game is maybe your king can escape, and again, historically he did. But yeah, if you're coming for a rah-rah, beat back the Nazis kind of war experience, this ain't it. That came later in the war. But I think the gameplay is great. I think it's tense. I think I might like it better than Halls of Hagar, although it's hard to remember. I never got a final copy of that one, so I only played it with the preview, and that was, 3 years ago or something? But yeah, this is a great, great time. A really tense war, Euro-ish kind of melded experience. My one small complaint, minor complaint, and this applies to a lot of historical war games, is that the setup is always the same. The Germans are always moving along the same path. You have to evacuate in sort of a similar speed and pace each game. Now, a lot of stuff does change up, the order of all these German activations and where they are, what gets revealed as you flip over more of them, what order you get cards in. So there is some randomness to change things. But in the end, it is the same historical picture, and I could see that getting a little bit repetitive if you're trying to play the game like over and over again in a single week. But I've played it 3 times in just a few days, and I've not felt bored at all. So I think as long as you kind of pace your playing out, it's still great. And again, that's a complaint that applies to a ton of some war games that are my favorites, like the entire David Thompson Valiant Defenders series. Love those games. And again, it's a single battle. It's historically accurate. And so things can seem a little bit repetitive if you play it too much in a row. But just vary up your playing, and it's not a problem at all. So yeah, go check out Crown and Courage. It should be up in a few days or the same day. I forget. I have a lot of previews coming up at the same time, so I forget if this one is going day of or earlier. But either way, it's a really solid one. Definitely worth your time. Thanks for watching, everybody, and a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, Dan, J. William F., Steve Wren, KCW, Andrew R., and Chris C. We'll see you at the next stop.